Hi, my name is Courtney, and I'm very passionate about helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one you had envisioned for yourself. And okay, first of all, I don't know that many people who are truly living that. There are some, but I don't know that many people who are today living the life they envisioned for themselves when they were younger, health issues or not. I was going to say something else. I'm very tired. I have got to get a hold of my doctor. I don't know I cannot sleep unless I take Benadryl, and I can't live on Benadryl. It's not good for you. So I'm not really sure what to do. I'm a little spacey, but on the plus side, my new job is going well. Lots and lots of reading, and I have copious pages of notes, watching videos, and I think it's going to be really interesting work. And in fact, so far, I'm a lot more excited about getting into it than I thought I would be. In fact, I'm kind of impatient. I just want to, I know I'm not ready, but I want to get up to speed so I can be turned loose. Anyway, let's talk about setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is it's not easy for me because I'm a people pleaser. The problem with being a people pleaser, and by the way, that's very common. I don't know. I can't speak to men. I'm not a man, obviously. So I don't know if this is true for men, but for women with chronic health issues, we definitely tend to be serious people pleasers, even if you weren't before, because we are so keenly aware of how much things have changed, how much the dynamic has changed, how we can't do all the things that we used to do. We can't do the things that we expect of ourselves, let alone what other people expect. Although, frankly, we shouldn't worry about other people, but you do to a degree. Oh crap, I just completely lost oh, I hate it when I do that. Told you guys I was tired. And I know it, so please don't tell me. I don't need a damn saying, oh my gosh, you look tired. I know. Thank you. I know. Anyway, this information is setting boundaries is really important for us because we are people pleasers. That's kind of that's where I was trying to get back to when I went off track there. But when you're a people pleaser like that, here's the problem. You tend to set your own needs aside to try to keep the people around you happy. And then you know what happens at the end of the day? Nobody's really very damned happy because they know they know you're not happy. Plus it gets to the point where you just can't please them if you keep. Anyway, I'm getting off in the weeds again. This information is from Psychology Today. 6 tips for setting boundaries. Number 1, you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself well enough to be able to define your boundaries. What's important to you? What are your values? Yeah, that's an easy question on the surface, isn't it? Of course you know that, right? Could you tell me in 60 seconds or less? Could you sum it up without stammering and having to go, oh my gosh, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it. A lot of people don't think about it. If you don't know what your values are, if you don't know what's important to you, it's really hard for you to set those boundaries. Plus, the better you know yourself, the easier it is to set your boundaries. And the better you know yourself, chances are, if you know yourself pretty well, you're probably working on yourself. So you're probably a fairly confident person. And the more your confidence grows, the less crap you're going to be willing to put up with. It's just a fact. Number 2, speaking of putting up with crap, you need to accept responsibility for your role because you do have one. If you do not set and enforce your boundaries, you can't get mad at other people for running over them. That is 100% on your shoulders. A good example from this is something I shamelessly stole years ago from a former mentor, and there's nothing wrong with her. We just went different directions, but I love this example because I don't have any children, so I'm not throwing my mother under the bus. But I know this is common for a lot of women. Maybe your mom does not approve of the way you're raising your children. Every time you talk to her, she tears into you about it. Well, the next time you're on the phone, it's not going to be easy, okay? But you have to set the boundary. The next time you're on the phone with her and she starts in on you, just very politely say, Mom, I love you, but we're not going to have this conversation. I have to go. I have things to do. Have a great day. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye. Get off the phone. And then don't answer if she calls back, because you set the boundary. You told her, no, we're not discussing it. And you told her you were busy. So don't answer the phone and argue about it. It's not going to be easy. You are going to get pushback. It's the way it goes. But what's your choice? You either go through that little bit of hard time to get to the other side, or you keep just getting upset about it, and you keep letting her cross that line with you, and you keep getting bummed out. Why? Again, it's not easy. I get that. But you're the only person who can stop this. Nobody else can do it. She's not going to do it. The people who are crossing your boundaries, first of all, do they even know it's a boundary? If you've never told them, if you've never defined that, do they even know they're crossing your boundaries? I mean, granted, there's times when it's really obvious. Maybe your mom thinks you welcome the parenting advice. Some people are just not very good at communication. But truly, you have to accept responsibility for your role. I gotta get to it. I gotta get back to work. Number 3, you have to love yourself. You just do. Look, most of us have things in our past that we're not proud of. I would dare say all of us, but I know there'll be somebody out there who'll get very self-righteous, which, okay. But we all have things that we're not proud of. But all of those experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, they all brought you to where you are today. And you know what? Maybe your life's not perfect. Whose is? Maybe there's a lot of things you want to change. But you know what? You've still made it this far. You need to celebrate that. That's something you should be proud of, truly. Plus, it gives you a solid foundation to start building from. And again, if you love yourself, if you respect yourself, you're going to, I'm not even going to say expect it. You're going to pretty much demand it of others, because you're not going to have time for anyone who's going to try to pull you down. You shouldn't anyway. Here's where I really have a problem. I project. I tend to see people how I love to look for the best in people. And I really do think that's a good quality overall. However, I take it too far. And I see other people how I want them to be instead of how they truly are. And that obviously can cause some problems for me. But you need to accept people who they are, who they really are, not your projection of who they are. And you know what? You need to be choosy who you spend your time with. Your time is precious. It's a finite resource, and you have no idea how much of it you've got. So be particular about who you invest yourself with, who you spend your time with. It's everything. It really is. I find it really funny how, and this is not a slam to anybody around here. It's not. This has a lot to do with who I am and who I have been. But I really feel like I have a better support system in Texas than I do in Alaska. I have gotten very choosy who I spend my time with. Well, down there, the kind of people that I want to spend, I really got very lucky. All of my new friends down there, they're the people that I choose to spend my time with. I met them because I happened to just fall into a wonderful church, and it's a good sized church. So I've been able to build a really amazingly solid foundation in a very short time there. But I am choosy about who I spend my time with. Number 4, you need to heed the warnings. Look, if people are going to trample all over your boundaries after you've explained, hey, it's not going to happen, and they keep doing it, that tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? I mean, really? Why would you even bother with them anymore? Obviously, they're not the kind of person you should be choosing to spend your time with. They're just not. And if it's somebody that you can't gently, please don't be mean to people, but if you can't gently ease them out of your life, you're going to have to limit your exposure to them. I used to work with this woman. Oh, she was, I'm sorry, but she was an absolute freaking nightmare to work with. And she had an incredible eye for detail. I will give her a ton of credit for that, but she would nitpick the hell out of everything if she Well, I was about to say she didn't like you, but honestly, she did it to everybody. And I remember one day I was I was working in a different building, and I was walking over to her office, and I felt myself getting really anxious about it. Like, oh my gosh, because I had never set any boundaries with her. Oh my gosh, and she's gonna nitpick the crap out of me, and she's gonna do this, and she's gonna do that. And I was like, whoa, why am I giving this crazy lady this much power over me? So instead, I just told myself, you know what? She has an incredible eye for detail that I don't. And this allows me to look better to anyone else who's going to get the paperwork down the line. And once I started viewing her more from that perspective, and it really is, it's just a small spin on how I looked at her. Okay. Yes, she's going to nitpick the crap out of me. However, that aspect of her personality is also going to, in the long run, make me look like a better employee. Made it a lot easier to deal with her. And I very much limited my exposure. If I just had paperwork to run over and somebody else was headed that way, oh, you're going over there? Drop this off for me, please. But I couldn't cut her out of my life. I had to deal with her. It's just, sometimes that's the way it goes. Number 5, I'm really guilty of this. You can't be a fixer. Don't be a fixer. First of all, nobody asked your nosy ass to fix anything. I have to remind myself of that constantly. And I'm going to be really honest here. I don't like admitting this out in the open, but it's just the truth. Those of us who like to try to fix other people, we're just looking for validation. Find your validation internally. Find your validation from God. Don't look for your validation in other people. Certainly don't look for your validation in fixing other people, because you can't fix anybody. Change has to come from within. All you can do is maybe nag the crap out of them, and they might put a half-assed effort forward, forward just to get you off of their ass. But if they're not into it, nothing's going to change. So don't be a fixer. Number 6, you need to remember that you truly are in charge. And you can change your mind. You can change your beliefs anytime you want to. And guess what? You don't owe anybody a freaking explanation. If they don't like it, oh well. Sorry. Bye. When you start standing up for yourself, when you start setting these boundaries, there are going to be people who give you pushback. You need to decide if those people are worth keeping around. Obviously, if it's family, I would encourage you to try to work things out. But you do have to make that choice, because you do need to be choosy who you spend your time with. That's all I have. I have to get back to work. I know I said this already, but I really think my new job it's a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. So I think that's very cool. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic afternoon. And I said I was going to be back at noon today, but you know what? I don't want to take my lunch break at noon. So I will be back tomorrow about 1 o'clock Alaska time.